When steel ran out during World War II, armies didn't stop fighting. They started innovating. On the battlefields of Europe, the Pacific and North Africa, soldiers faced a grim problem. How do you protect men and materials when there's no steel left for armour? The answer didn't come from a weapons lab or a secret foundry. It came from a paint can. What began as a desperate wartime workaround became one of the most fascinating engineering hacks of the 20th century. A chemical mixture so effective it could turn ordinary wood into a bullet-resistant shield. By 1942, steel was gold. Every last ounce was being swallowed up by tanks, ships, and aircraft production. That left engineers in the field scrambling to find ways to reinforce wooden vehicles, crates, and barricades. Wood was everywhere. It built the trucks, outposts, and bridges of war. But it splintered dangerously when hit by gunfire, often causing more injuries than the bullets themselves. At the United States Forest Products Laboratory in Madison, Wisconsin, researchers began searching for a way to harden wood without the need for heavy industrial tools. Their breakthrough came when they discovered that a mix of sodium silicate, known as water glass, and casein, a protein binder derived from milk, could transform the very structure of wood. When blended into ordinary paint or varnish, this mixture seeped deep into the wood grain, bonding with the cellulose and forming a tough, ceramic-like shell once dry. Soldiers nicknamed it liquid armor paint, and while it never appeared under that name in official records, field manuals reference silicate-treated coatings for ballistic reinforcement. The science behind this wartime innovation was as simple as it was brilliant. Sodium silicate, when exposed to air, reacted with carbon dioxide to form a hard layer of silica inside the wood fibres. That process effectively turned porous timber into a dense, stone-like composite. When dry, it resisted cracking, splintering, and even fire. It didn't make wood invincible, but it made it surprisingly tough. Tough enough to deflect small-caliber rounds and absorb shocks that would have shattered untreated boards. Tests conducted by Allied engineers showed that wood treated with several coats of this silicate mixture could stop or at least dramatically slow down 9mm rounds. With 3 to 5 layers, the wood became so dense that it could rival thin steel plates in strength. For soldiers in the field, this was nothing short of revolutionary. They used it to coat sentry posts, reinforce ammunition boxes, and even add makeshift armour to transport trucks carrying fuel or munitions. What made this paint additive a game-changer wasn't just its protective qualities, it was its practicality. Soldiers didn't need a lab, power tools or special equipment. They could mix it right in the field using standard oil-based paint and liquid sodium silicate in equal parts. After brushing or spraying it onto sanded wood and letting it dry for a few hours, they repeated the process for additional layers. Sometimes they'd warm the surface using a field stove or sunlight to help the chemical penetrate deeper. The result was a hardened surface that felt like stone under the fingertips, but retained the flexibility and lightness of wood. And it wasn't only bullets they were fighting. In humid regions like Burma or the Philippines, wood was constantly at war with rot, termites and moisture. This new coating gave it triple protection. It toughened the surface, sealed it from water, and made it fire-resistant. Engineers quickly realized they weren't just painting. They were upgrading every piece of timber they had into a multi-purpose defense material. While sodium silicate armor paint never became standard military issue, it spread through field reports and word of mouth. British and American engineers even used it to reinforce the walls of wooden boats and pontoon bridges, reducing splintering from shrapnel and small projectiles. After the war, the technology quietly lived on. Builders and restorers discovered that the same liquid glass compound could be used to strengthen wood structures against weather, decay, and fire. Today, sodium silicate is sold in hardware stores under names like waterglass or silicate sealer. When mixed with paint or clear varnish, it still delivers the same benefits the Allied engineers discovered over 80 years ago. It hardens the surface, improves resistance to moisture, and dramatically extends the life of wood. The same formula that once protected soldiers can now protect cabins, sheds, and furniture from the elements. The story of bulletproof paint captures something timeless about human innovation. When faced with shortages, destruction, and danger, scientists and soldiers didn't wait for ideal conditions. They built solutions from what they had. Turning wood into armor was not just chemistry, it was creativity under pressure. Even though this silicate-based coating never became an official weapon of war, it played its part in protecting lives, supplies, and equipment when resources were running dry. More importantly, it sparked ideas that evolved into the advanced composite coatings we use today in construction, aerospace, and defense. The principle remains the same. Take an ordinary material and make it extraordinary through science. In the end, the story of this WWII paint isn't just about chemistry. It's about resilience. It reminds us that history's most powerful technologies often hide in the simplest places, like a tin of paint mixed on a battlefield that could stop a bullet. If stories like this fascinate you, the forgotten hacks, field inventions, and underdog ideas that changed the tide of war, then you're exactly where you need to be. Subscribe to The Forgotten War Fronts and share this story with someone who loves history as much as you do. Because the more we understand how the past was built, the better we can appreciate the brilliance that kept it standing.